Louis Rosenberg here, Punching Back Podcast, and we're in the beautiful downtown LA Arts District. And look who pulled up today, Fabian Alomar.
What up? Glad to be here, man. Thank you for inviting me.
For sure. LA native?
LA, yeah. Echo Park, born and raised.
What was it like growing up?
Like, what was it like growing up in what
In
particular
LA.
time? Just growing up, period?
Right, starting points.
Way different than it is today. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
You know, it was a lot rougher. I think it was a lot more like, more direct. Right now, you get a lot of, there's a lot of other people that came in and changed everything where I grew up. Echo
You
Park
mean
is
like gentrification?
Yeah, I think it changed for the best, though. I'm not gonna hate on it. I think it actually changed for the best because, as far as business and community, the safety part of it. But don't get it wrong, man. It's still active out there. It's still like they're hidden. You know, it's still people getting killed. I just got wind of this youngster that I know who goes by the name of Problem from Echo Park, about to be 15 years old this year, got shot in the head, and now is no longer with us. And he was at the community center that I work with, Centro de Pueblo, and this just happened like a few days ago.
What's the impact of that on you?
Well, man, it sucks and it hurts because like I knew that kid. I've sat around with him and talked to him, and I try to I try to get inside all of them and try to be like, you know, what's going on with you and what are you into besides the life,
right?
You know, what could pull you out or whatever. But I didn't have that much time with this kid. I don't think anybody did. He's 14 years old and he passed away of a gunshot to the head. Right. So
now you've worked with the youth.
Yeah.
You've worked with Raza Youth. Tell me about that. I think you worked in Sylmar.
I worked at Sylmar, Barry J. Juvenile Hall facility with ARC. Because when I got into ARC when I was in Pelican Bay, and that's how I got, Scott Budnick came up to my cell and was just, you know, gave me the whole spiel.
And for those who don't know, ARC, Anti-Recidivist Coalition.
Yeah, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition is founded by Scott Budnick.
Shout out Scott.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out.
Scott Budnick, man, that's the man right there. And you know, he's been working with the youth forever. And like when he came to my cell in Pelican Bay, I didn't know what ARC was. And you know, before you know it, I was in ARC, and then I started doing the curriculum, and one thing led to another. I really got into it because I was at that time I was changing and trying to like focus on what I'm gonna do when I come home, you know? And I knew I always wanted to work with the youth, but I didn't know I was gonna get into acting. So I thought maybe I would get into being a janitor because HFM, healthcare facility maintenance, was what I was doing inside Pelican Bay. So I got like 26 weeks cut off of my time because of that. I did all the OSHA tests and all the PPE tests, and I was gonna come out and be a certified janitor, if you want to say, like maintenance, yeah, but high tech in a place like in a hospital after the blood, because I was doing blood spill pickups inside Pelican Bay. So every time there was an incident inside a cell or anywhere, we'd go and clean up the blood, but you had to put on the correct uniform.
The hazmat.
Yeah, you have to. So, you know, that was going to be my future. Then you know.
How did you transition into acting?
Man, so let's keep it real. There was phones in prison, right? So I posted something with ARC, and with ARC came back. I posted a certificate, and with that certificate, there was a video circulating at the same time. That's why I think it's all God, bro. It's all God. Like that video was circulating in the prison facility at the same time with Danny Trejo, Elgin James, Richard Cabral, Mario Castillo, and Mikey Castillo was in the back. And they were talking with Scott Budnick, and they were all talking about recidivism and what we could do about prison and how prison life is not the end. Like when you come out, it's not the end. Like you can still have a future. Like Richard Cabral, he has an amazing future.
Shout out Richard Cabral.
Yeah. No, he's like the template of it, you know, like because look at what he's done, you know. So I was looking at that in Pelican Bay and like, wow. So I tagged everybody in my post, and I said, your video just happened to come out, and I saw it, and it meant a lot to me. I watched it every day. It was one of those repeating on the facility channel. So it came out every day, and it just looped. It looped. Wow. So what I did was like, to be honest, man, I prayed. You know, I prayed, and I keep it real with you, man. I prayed, and like I just knew that I had to be in that circle.
Did you feel called, like an inspiration? What was the emotions as you were doing that?
I was getting spiritually involved in the word, because you know that, man, at the end of the day, like you're blessed to come out of a prison that no one comes out of. You know, it's like no one comes out of that joint, man. Like they stay in there, and there's 85 or 80% lifers, and you're surrounded with them, hearing their stories. You feel blessed that you have a date. So I was, of course, I was appreciative and grateful that I was even coming home.
And you said date. It's an out date.
An out date,
weren't doing life.
Yeah. But now, the thing with me was I was fearful of what I'm gonna do. I didn't know what I was gonna do, so I figured, man, I'll stick with this janitorial stuff. But I knew inside, like, I want to be an actor. I want to do this. I want to do that. But I thought I lost my chances with the Cholos Try. You know,
right?
Like when I lost and dropped the ball on the Cholos Try gig, it felt like that's it. My world ended.
Tell me more about Cholos Try for those who aren't familiar with that.
It was the name of a thing we did for Me Too, and Cholos Try was the title of me and Carlos and a couple other guys, you know, and we had some girls in there, and it was just like, I knew that was a great way to come out and do something. After being incarcerated back then too, I just got home, but I was still under the drug, you know. I was still addicted and in my addiction. So never have I ever gone the addiction route to do the 12 steps or anything like that, or be around people that done that. Because you know, you're raised by wolves, you're gonna become a wolf, bro. That's the bottom line. That's just how it is. Unless you know better, and someone has to show you that. So I didn't really, you know, never have I. My mom and dad have kicked drugs on their own. You know, my dad kicked it, just like let go of it and said he's not gonna do it no more, and that was it. But not all of us are that strong.
So are you, well, let me ask you this. Describe your household growing up. You just mentioned that your parents had substance abuse issues.
Yeah, my family's had a bunch of problems like that growing up, you know. Yeah, ever since I can remember. I probably think like since I was a kid, you know, it's been like I knew what they were doing. I figured I knew what they were. I could smell it and I could see you know, it didn't really affect me until I got a little older and I wanted them to stop.
Like 9 years old?
About 8.
Okay.
8, 9, I was already holding money and drugs, putting them aside, and money and stashing it so that they could pay rent and get stuff like groceries and pay bills. So I'm the oldest of 7.
Wow.
So I have to be the example. And you know, I had to babysit my 2 sisters and my brother. And sometimes my mom and dad wanted to take a trip to go and, you know, explore Alvarado and Echo Park and do their thing, you know? So I was left to babysit with the responsibility, like growing up fast. That's the thing about, you know, just having no, like with me, it was always this. Like I always wanted to, I hated when they were doing drugs. I hated it so bad that like I would get mad and flip out and smell my mom. I would kiss my mom on purpose to smell, so I could smell the PCP.
Wow.
And she wouldn't want to kiss me.
So she was on dust.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my father. So dealing with that at a young age, and then having your friends can't come around your house because there's drugs in the fridge. You got PCP jars in the fridge, and there's dope all around and paraphernalia. You know, my friends' lives weren't like that.
Right.
So growing up, even some homies' lives of their parents weren't like that. Their parents were like hardworking people who came here from Mexico or came here from El Salvador. But my family was born here. My parents from across the street from each other, and they, you know, were involved in the life of what was going on in the culture at that time.
Gotcha. Tell me about skateboarding, because you have notable achievements as a skater.
Yeah, well, I was a pro skateboarder for like 11 years, man. I started skating when no one was skating in my neighborhood. It was like 1980, 86, 85, 84. I was young. I was just trying to, you know, it was either that or go into gangbanging and get involved in what my family was doing. But I was already involved. But now I have a little outlet with skateboarding. And it was two Asian kids that were skating on the end of my block by Rampart, right behind Rampart Police Station, the original Rampart.
Right.
On Temple and Benton Way. And they were skating behind it on Hines Street. And we heard some, like, you know, when you ollie, it's like a clack, clack. We were listening, and when you steal a bike with someone else, you have to share the bike. So one day he rides, one day I ride, and he's on the bars, I'm on the bar. So this, like, me and my friend were like listening, and like, we hear this skateboarding, we go over there, and it changed our lives, man.
Wow.
We got into skateboarding but we couldn't afford it, man. We couldn't afford it. Skateboarding, expensive. Airwalks, back in the day, airwalks were a lot. Jimmy Z's were a thing back then, and there was only a few skateboard brands. Let me just say this. Now there's tons of skateboard brands. Back in the day, there was not that many skateboard brands, so when we needed shoes, we were skating with Converse, but when them Chuck Taylors get a hole really quick on the bottom and the top, like them Chuck Taylors don't last that long in skateboarding, and I don't know if Converse now makes a lot of good shoes. Shout out Converse.
Shout them out.
Shout out Converse. I need some shoes, man. What's up?
I have two assistants that are going to come in to do my two assistants.
It's all good.
All right.
So what I did was, me and my friend Juan Harrell, Fivo, we would steal shoes from Chinatown, real close to Echo Park. Everybody, in Chinatown, they leave their shoes outside.
Oh, right.
But
they take
damn,
their shoes
feet
off.
like this big. You know what I'm saying? So I had to squeeze and crunch.
Oh, wow.
So man, like in the beginning of my career, skateboarding, like not even career, I want to say, just like the beginning raw, was like other people's shoes, man. Other people's shoes that they left outside. And I would leave my dusty ones there.
So did you know Christian Hosoi, Tony Alva?
Dude, Christian Hosoi, you kidding me? Christian Hosoi is my boy, man. Christian Hosoi, that's like one of my mentors who led me to be in the church that I'm in today. Yeah, actually, he's the one who told me to, like, another skater friend, another pro skateboarder friend of mine, Sean Mandoli.
Okay.
Him and his wife, they hold the church that I just came from right now. And like, I tell you right now, man, everything in skateboarding, the whole skateboarding thing has led me to be here where I'm at today. Because without the skateboarding, I don't know if I could have been anywhere where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
I grew up with Christian Hosoi. Shout out. Much love, my boy.
Yeah.
All right. So what were the challenges that you faced growing up in Los Angeles?
At what age? When? Like,
Tell me about your
it's been like
teenage years.
forever a challenge. Like today, it's still a challenge, you know? But what do you mean?
Teenage years.
Teenage years?
Yeah, becoming a man.
Identity. Trying to fit in. Being a follower. And just, the challenges I had was not letting my emotions get the best of me. And still, I work on that today. I work on it today. Yeah, it's like something that I think we all carry a little bit of baggage from our past, that we try to get rid of, and we try to go get therapy, and we try to go to church, and we try to pray, and we do all these things, and we talk to people and make us feel better. But at the end of the day, we all carry a little bit of baggage from our past, and that's something that either it humbles you or it could drive you crazy.
1992, the riots.
March.
Tell me about it.
1990, that was the Rodney King riots. Man, that day I was coming back from Santa Barbara in the back of a truck, all sweaty, because we had skated Paul Peralta skate zone in Goleta. So we're in the back of a truck with the pickup truck, and by the time we get to LA, we notice that there's all kinds of fires. So we go to my mom's house. I think my mom lived in Highland Park at the time, and they tell us that there's a riot going on, and I'm like, what do you mean a riot? There's the riots. We knew about the Rodney King deal. Everybody knew about the Rodney King deal and everything. But now there's a riot. I wasn't paying attention to no TV, and I was skateboarding on the street. So all I know was that there was pockets of fire everywhere. And like everybody's looting and everybody's just acting crazy, you know? We're driving around and right away we go, damn, it's a free-for-all, man. Let's go get something. Let's go come up. So we go out to go loot. But instead of looting, when we get to kind of like West LA going into South Central, we see that we don't even forget about looting. We're over here trying to save little Hispanic and Raza homies and families from getting beat up by blacks. That's what was going on at the time. Mm-hmm. So we all of us, instead of coming up and getting all these cameras and whatever we were trying to look for and looting, we ended up just going out and protecting like 4 or 5 incidents that happened that we saved people and driving around and we wouldn't find nothing. We were now at that point we just drove around trying to look for who's in trouble. And we didn't even loot. Never got
Vigilantes.
Nothing. Yeah, but what we thought was for a good cause because our people was getting beat up and targeted for a reason that they didn't even do anything. So we went out to towards South Central to go and try to see man, let's go see what we see. So at that time we had bats and pipes and we popped out and we saved it. Like I said, there was people in trouble and we didn't even loot, man. We end up becoming going around looking for trying to be heroes, but ain't nobody trying to be a hero. We're just trying to defend what we got. And why are you picking on them for anyway? They didn't do nothing to you, but you picking on a certain color now. So it becomes a racial divide. And then when you go to the county jail and you get locked up, it carries on. Because all this out here carries inside the system. So the racial war has just escalated at that point, inside and out here. Because a little bit later, I would end up in jail, and I would see it for my own eyes. And, it's like automatic hate. Automatic hate. I got friends that are black, man. I grew up with them, too. I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican, so there's no real difference in my book. But when you want to start tripping on different skin colors, now we got to play that part. Now we got to go there now. And that's what we did. We just tried to we were just backing up our own turf and our own people, man. That's all it was. But it got bad inside as well as in the streets, Because it's designed to be like that. You know how the county jail is? It's designed that your table's over here and your table, that's their table, and we don't mix. We don't trade or nothing. And there's sometimes, where we don't even talk to each other. You could have a friend in there and you probably can't even say nothing to him because of the politics. That's not how it is on the street, though. But you want to carry that into there, and then, I don't know, man. It's a you go to jail in New York, and it's probably not like that. I doubt it. East Coast jails, a little bit more. You come over here to California, you're gonna find out how racially divided it is inside the system, and how that can be another stress pressure for you to just it's just another stress factor that you gotta wow, now I gotta worry about another race just because of my color. When we've got more in common than we think, But that's how it is, man. That's just how it is. That's how I grew up. That's how I grew up inside and out here. Until you learn differently, and skateboarding opened that up. I started skating with Kareem Campbell, Shiloh Greathouse, Javante Turner, all these people that I look up to, you know, big skaters, big names, and how am I gonna be acting racist when my boss for the skate company that I work for and skate for, that grew up with, we got pictures together, we traveled together, and I got, nah, man, I never played that. But believe me, you have to, when you're locked up, you have to play it to some point. You can't share food. I can't sit with you. And we're definitely not gonna cross them barriers that you can't, you know. It's politics. That's what it is. So those riots set off a whole wave of reaction. The reaction to that was, the repercussions were bad, bro. It was bad for a while. And then with the cops too. So it was bad. LA was bad for the next 3 or 4 years. And those are the years that I was trying to come up in skateboarding. 92, I was still grinding, trying to, you know. 91, I turned, like I was barely gonna turn pro, and I hadn't really made money. I was getting like $71 checks. I turned pro for a company called Z. No. I turned pro for, scratch that. I didn't turn pro for a company called, I skated for a company called Z. I turned pro for ATM Click, Mark Gonzalez. So one of my favorite skateboarders that I looked up to ended up blessing me to turn pro and wanted to do my graphic and put me on. And I'm like, so for him to, everyone he's touched has had an amazing career and was somebody special. So I felt like, wow, dude, that's like coming out of prison and Eva Longoria putting you in a movie 6 months out of Pelican Bay. That's how it felt.
It's an awesome story.
I felt like I've been struck by lightning, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times, man. You know, because skateboarding was something I prayed to, I would ask every night to turn pro. Part of my nightly routine. We had a thing called church violence. Me and the homies that would go and skate, rat nuts, we had a thing. We passed by a church, and if you didn't do the cross, we would all sock you. Not hard, but we'd sock you in the arm, like you got one coming. Boom, a little Charlie, you know. But you got to do the cross, or else it's church violence. We called it church violence. So crazy the way we thought. It's always been in me, man. It's always been in me, and I think maybe in the future, who knows? My pastor's wife told me, you have a calling, you have it, and then you're probably gonna use this to help other people. I don't mind. I'm not afraid of it. I'm gonna walk towards it.
Yeah, I love it.
Great.
Let me ask you this, because it seems like you played the role of a caretaker in your family, watching your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Who's your caretaker?
It always goes back to like, my parents, but if they couldn't do it, you know, like my friends, the streets, skateboarding. I chose to be a skateboarder rather than to run around in the streets because I knew that would make my mom happy. I choose to not get tattoos from my elbows down when I did my prison time and my neck up because it made my mom happy.
Right.
And so I at the end of the day, I've always tried to like do right by God and my mom. That's it.
Awesome.
I have to be my own man though sometimes, and like I was on the streets by choice, man. Like I wasn't homeless. My family at one point we were all homeless, and I remember being on Sunset in Benton Way, coming out that hotel, and walking with my mother and my sisters, and we all had bags, and there was a stroller, but the stroller had like carried clothing, and you know there was no money. So we had to, you know, just figure it out. And we figured it out by the end of the day.
Wow.
And it was, whether my friends, that people I knew that would take us in, or my mom, we all know a lot of people. But when you're caught up in that, you know, and that kind of lifestyle, it's just, it's hard to be trusted. And you're coming in with a bunch of kids, like my sisters were little, my little brother. And it's just hard, man. Like even when when I was in prison, I was still worried about my family in the street, and I had no way of doing anything about it. And that burned me, it burned my head, man.
So let me ask you this. How did you turn this into becoming an actor?
It goes back to me being in Pelican Bay, and I got a response out of all those people I mentioned: Danny Trejo, Richard Cabral, and Mario Castillo, Michael Castillo, Scott Budnick. The only person that reached out to me was Elgin James, and he said, "Hey man, let's get you out and create some magic and get you back on set." And that's exactly what he said. And it was 2000. It was like in 2020, August 2020, because I was going home in December.
Wow.
Right before I go home, he changed the whole game and messed up my whole, I was like, what? So now, I know he does the Mayans. I know I was listening to I memorized the whole thing, what they were talking about. And so I was like, man, that's my passion, what I want to do, right? I want to tell stories. And I want to be, I want to write stories. I want to make stories. I want to make it come to life, So I always been like that as a kid. I've always done, and for free, by the way. As a kid, you make your family laugh in the living room. I'm that kid that came out of the bathroom when he was a little baby, and just put his finger in his foreskin and took it out, and then try to touch everybody. You know what I mean? I'm that kid. That little boy, it was a Chinese finger lock, man. It's in your, you know what I mean? That's like one of those gay. I just thought that was funny. And my uncles and my aunts, and I would touch them, and they were like, ooh. So then I started imitating a lot of my family's friends that would come over, and some of my family members. I'd start imitating them. And you do impressions so much that they just like, hey, do that. Like my sister the other night, hey, do that. And I get like, shut up, to make them laugh. And I'm like, but they want to see it. I've always been that way. Always been that way, man. Always. And it's not like a show off. It's just like, I like to see people laugh. And even though I use my, I could joke about stuff that happened to me. And you might think, wow, but I could turn it into a joke and laugh at it. Now,
You recall how we met? At a fundraiser for Richard Quinones?
Richard Quinones. It was actually at Oscala or Ocala? Was it Escala?
Yeah, Escala.
Escala.
Chino OG.
Yeah, Chino OG.
Right.
My neighbor, what's up, Chino?
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Your film reel, your IMDb, you've done all kinds of shows, Mayans, Flaming Hot. Tell me about Flaming Hot.
No, Flaming Hot was like a gift. I'd just been out of Pelican Bay 6 months, 7 months, 6.5 months. And I get an audition from some people that I didn't even have an agent yet. I didn't have nothing. I was hanging around Danny. I was hanging around Danny and Mario, and I didn't have an agent yet. And I had just done some BuzzFeed stuff, and it went super viral. So I was on the path. But when Flamin' Hot came about, the audition came, and I had this little part to do, and I was like, damn. I'm like, oh man, this is a big film. This is huge, right? Eva Longoria is attached to it, and I'm like, I had no idea what. I told my friend down in Hollywood if he could help me, and he helped me with the audition, and he gave me some pointers. I booked it. Little did they know that I was on parole when I booked it, and that I couldn't leave LA, let alone go to New Mexico.
Right.
So I had to go through the channels and Mario and Danny knew my situation, and I didn't have an agent or nobody to represent me, right? I'm just free balling, just out here, and I got this audition, and they like me. And now they're asking for my availability, and they said, hey, you booked the role. So now Gloria Hinojosa, who was my agent, Danny's agent, and she got on board, got me, and you know what's crazy? She had me on Flamin' Hot. She had me as a client right before Flamin' Hot even exists. So it's like she was just taking a chance on me, and then Flamin' Hot came, and I booked it. And Danny and Mario had to go to my parole agent, Mrs. Haas in Almani, and go and talk to her and like plead with her. But when they saw Danny, they were super happy. They were like, "Oh yeah." And my agent's supervisor came and just said, "Hey, I'm gonna take over." So that's when she said, "Hey, you're asking for 30 days. I'm gonna give you 60 days to go and do the movie." And I was blessed to go and do it with no repercussions coming back. It was great, man.
Awesome. Would you say Danny Trejo is your mentor?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How did you guys link up?
I was doing a photo shoot a week home from coming out, and Lisa Bratt Martinez was taking photos of me in Echo Park with another friend who passed away. And at the end of the photo session, she's like, and I didn't even have any clothes, man. I'd just been home a week, and I'm like, wow, I don't have really, I was at less than a week. I was probably like 5 days. So she said, I brought a couple things with me, and I was just like taking photos around Echo Park and trying to make it work. At the end of that, she's like, I'm gonna go have lunch with Machete. And I'm like, what? Machete? Yeah, Danny Trejo? She goes, yeah. You wanna come? I'm like, nah. Nah, I'm not gonna go. She's like, come. I'm sure he would want to meet you. I'm like, nah, I'm sure he wants to be with you, like hang out with you, like, or whatever, You don't know me. I feel like I'm third wheel or whatever. So she gets him on the phone, and then all I hear is like, hey, what prison did he come out of? And I'm like, yeah, Pelican Bay, okay, yeah, hey, I want to meet him. Yeah, bring him, tell him to come. And I'm like, oh, wow, I've been summoned by Machete.
That's awesome.
So when we get there, it's supposed to be 20 minutes, and it turns into like 3 hours. Gives me his number. We hang out. Next time I see him, it's a week later, and we're at a funeral for a kid. Do you remember when the Dodgers and the Lakers both won that same year? It was 2021 or 20? Was it 20 or 21? I'm not sure. Whatever. I think it was 20. 20. So they won, right? So Matt, mind you, this is January 21. I'm home. There's still the effects of that. Some kid got shot and killed I guess there was someone shooting in San Fernando. They were breaking windows of cars, and then these kids come out and be like, "Hey, man, those are our family. Those are our cars in our neighborhood and our family." So they confronted them, and they turned around and they shot them. And it was during those times when it was like everyone was acting a fool and rioting and stuff, because they won. And this kid gets shot. He's 17 years old, and he died. Danny Trejo was going to do a documentary on that kid, and he just so happened to die. And that's when I met Blinky Rodriguez, and we all went to his wake, his services. And I was just like, out of nowhere, they called me, and I went to the services of this little kid, and just like from that day on, I started hanging out with Danny. He told me to come by, just to come by and like make sure that I'm good, But not to like put me in a movie, or not to like make me a star or nothing. Just to make sure that I'm good, so I could do whatever my calling is that I need to do. Because he didn't even believe that I was a skateboarder at that point. Okay. He didn't even know. I said, Holmes, you skateboard? You're lying. Homie, come on. Like, I'm like, you don't look like no damn skater. Danny. I'm like, dude, I used to skate, And his Machete thumbs ain't gonna go straight to Google right away. So he had to, it took a while to show him. And then he's like, he found out. And he went, and we went to a skate little thing they do on Sundays. It's called Church. And it's at Jaquan on Western and Wilshire. Right before, right down the street on the side on Serrano, there's a skate spot that everybody goes to on Sunday today. They're there right now. And so we went there, and everybody came to me, and like Danny watched that, like, what? So he told Mario, like, he didn't know. He goes, man, you're really a skater. All the guys from DGK, my boy Stevie Williams, and they all just hang out there, and they skate there, and they motivate and inspire kids to skate. And that is a spot that I used to skate back in the day before it got popular, Right now, it's very popular, but back in the day, we used to get kicked out of there. I've had fights there, security trying to kick me out from me doing a trick. But now skateboarding is it's welcome. Back in the day, but those skateboarding is not a crime. It may have come from us, you know, because it seemed like we were doing a crime because securities would come out and try to stop my dream from happening. And then that's when the skateboard becomes a weapon. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get on me about that? Yeah, it happens. So I've never let no one get in the way of what I want to do and what I believe in. And I believe me or not, like I don't care if anybody says I sound fake or corny, but I've always prayed for stuff, man. I've always prayed for stuff. I had an auntie that always showed me my prayers, you know, and like took me to church and instilled it in me when I was a kid. So with that, I've always, you know, no matter what dirt you do, you pray before you do a crime. I have. Yeah, you pray before you do a crime. Believe me. Help me get away with this robbery. It'll just get me to the next phase. You know, that's what I've done. And it works. And at the end of the day, you're going to get reprimanded. And you're going to face what you've done, the consequences and the penalty for that. But it's always been in my heart to just pray for whatever I need, man. And like, you know, and I prayed for this.
It seems to be working. Seems to be working for you. Tell me about the Hulu show, This Foo.
That was an audition for, so, God, man, my friend, Lee Cock is the guy who helped me with Lee Cock is the guy who had helped me with the Flamin' Hot audition. I was trying to think of his name. So he's the one who had the part for my part in This Fool. He already booked it, the part of Martin. And it was the part of Martin. And to be honest, that show was supposed to be called something else. Like, punk ass bitch. Right? It was like, dude, I'm auditioning for a punk ass bitch. Like, I just got off the joint. I'm like, wow, I don't know if I could do this right here. This is like a, you know, like punk ass bitch. Really? Do I want to be on that show?
Me and Cornell have the same, like,
Yeah.
passion,
Punk. I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, so I found out that even though I just wanted to work and I thought it was be a dope, like it was funny and it was cool, you know, but either way I was with it. But I'm glad they changed their name. Thank you to This Fool. But I was doing the audition the first audition came in when I was filming for Flamin' Hot. And I think Bobby Soto helped me with it. And then I got help from like Jimmy Gonzalez and a lot of different, like I just started, you know, that thing. Oh, wait, I can't forget. Esteban Orio, he helped me with it too.
Shout out Esteban Orio.
Esteban helped me with it too, man. He put in the word and like, it was just a good thing. I ended up talking to the executive producer and the lead actor, you know? So, you know, dude, he's funny, by the way. I'm sorry, you have to edit this because I forgot his name. What's his name? The lead actor of this. The guy. Estrada. Oh wait. What's his fucking first name?
Eric?
Eric Estrada. No, that's Chips. Fool.
That's shit, yeah. That's when we were kids.
Nah, dude. What is it? It's Chris Estrada. Yeah. So hey, let's go back. Okay. So shout out to Chris Estrada for, you know, like I had a good conversation with him, and then he, you know, put me on, and I got to meet everybody else. Dude, that show was fun. That was one of the best shows I like, you know, it was fun to be on, and it was like right by my house, you know, it was like right down the street.
Now, you've got a short film out right now, Fireline, that's getting a lot of buzz. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Fireline was we did that last year in March, and it went to Tribeca. It's like an amazing film, but a good story about a man trying to get to his Bobby Soto, the actor who plays, and trying to just have a conversation with his daughter for her birthday, but under the circumstances of fighting a fire and being locked up, trying to hide it, and you know, getting denied parole and board. I mean, he got denied board to even get to parole. You know, so yeah, it's a good story, man. It's a heartfelt story. It's really good. I like it, and plus it's significant right now with these fires that are out right now. Yeah. We also, we came close to making the cut for getting nominated for an Oscar this year, 2025. But I guess we didn't get selected, but we came really close, and we had a good run, you know.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
done very well at
Yeah.
the festivals.
Yeah.
Now, if you could have a movie made about your life, who would you want to play you?
Me.
Okay?
Yeah. Younger me, I'd have to wait for that. Yeah.
Right, the skater you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But me, I would like to play myself because I could tell the story myself. You know, who else can, you know? But if I die, then we'll get somebody else. You know what I mean? But I think I could do a good job of playing me
What would you tell
or my father.
What would you tell your younger self today?
Wake up. And just wake up because there's some unnecessary stuff that I went through and decisions that I made that I didn't have to go through. But also that's what made me. But again, yeah, I would have stayed away from certain people and skated much sooner.
Okay. Now, who would you say influenced your acting? What's your inspiration?
My inspiration for acting is probably just, I'm in love with cinema. I love movies first and foremost. I mean, for the fact that I've always been glued to TV and movies. So I think the inspiration comes from just like growing up in life, just everything. From still today, I still, around my family, around my close family, there's certain family members that we knew, people, friends of the family that would come in and they had an impediment. So I think like for the love of it, it's just like who inspired me? People growing up in my family, because that's the first things that I did. I imitated what I saw on camera, or I imitated what I'd seen in real life. Just playing around though. And like, it could be the wino down the street. It could be Lupe and Frankie in the neighborhood of Douglas. It could be my dad's homeboy, Night Owl.
Night Owl.
Yeah, and another dude, like my dad. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. Like they had like, or Smokey from my dad's neighborhood. Smokey, you know, like I always imitated certain people that had like certain things, even in prison, even in the joint. Like, you know, a lot of people said, like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm just telling you the truth, man. You know, a lot of people like, I'm gonna miss you. Fool, yeah, I haven't had this many laughs. We got in trouble for laughing loud on the yard. We got in trouble for laughing loud on the yard. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm not gonna say what prison and what yard, but it was a 4-yard. It was a 180, and it was up north. And they were like, hey, the homies are tripping on you guys laughing too loud. Like, keep it down, tone it down. And so someone else started nutting. Like one of the guys that we're all joking around with, he'd been there for a long time. He what? Who said? And it was gonna be a big old thing. And I'm like, chill. I don't want to be the. Who's making you laugh? Me. So they're gonna come back on me. I'm like, chill. Let's not fight over me now. Come on, we in prison. let's leave it alone, dog. I'll stop. We'll do it another day. But like, you know, it's like misery loves company. But people appreciate when you go out of your way to tell a story or make them laugh. And I left an impression with a couple of guys that I still talk to this day, that have been moved from Pelican Bay. They're no longer there, but they still call me, and it's not GTL no more because all the calls are free now.
Right.
So, and that's a good thing because man, them calls be getting expensive. So you know, I know that, and I still keep in contact with certain people, you know, that watch my career through social media, and you know, it feels good, man, because they're like, man, I wish I would have spent more time with you on the yard and talked to you more. But now they're getting their information, whether not from them, but from their wives or loved ones, that, hey, your friend is doing this and that, and then they get back to me and they send, you know, so it's cool.
Now, your story is inspiring to a lot of people. What would you hope people take away from your story?
Don't quit. Never give up. Never give up, and just stay the course. You could fall off, but don't, but get back up. You know, You fall down, don't fall too far away, but get back up. It's how you get back up, man. I'm like, and I'm gonna say this: being a skateboarder has taught me to fall and get back up. Before that, it was my dad. My dad is like, if you get knocked down, you get back up. I don't care what it is. You get back up until you can't get back up no more. So having that instilled in my head as a kid, like when I started skating, nothing came easy. I didn't even have the right shoes for it. I didn't have the right clothes for it. And the skateboard wasn't my skateboard. It was a stolen skateboard. I stole my first skateboard in Eagle Rock. And then, a donut shop, they had them all outside, and I just scooped up like 3 of them, put them in the back of a Nissan truck, and we took off. And then we came back to Rampart, right there in the Rampart area, where MacArthur Park, Rampart, Echo Park. We came back there, and we started skating. They ain't gonna look for us here. And if they did, they would be in trouble. So we came back, and we skated them, and then and when those things faded and got messed up, and for a long time, we didn't know what we were doing, man. We just had skateboards, but we didn't have no video or magazine or anything to look at. So we would just be like, damn, like we depend on these 2 Asian kids to teach us how to skate. You know what I mean? Because we didn't know nothing until we got informed and we started going to skate shops. But now you take us to a skate shop, we're stealing from the skate shop. We're doing runouts with the boards because the reason why, it's not because I like to steal, I couldn't afford it, man. I had to steal food. My homie would steal bread. I'd steal bologna, and another dude would get like mayonnaise or soda. Like we just have sandwiches outside and eat them right outside the supermarket Safeway on 3rd and Vermont. That's where I grew up. Because we couldn't, if your family had food, man, believe me, if my family had food to offer other people, then we'd have my friends over. So I'd be at my friend's house all the time, and then their parents, this is how I learned the Salvadorians use different names like Bayunco, and este cipote, ¿por qué estás comiendo aquí? Siempre todos comiendo aquí en mi casa. Este Bayunco. Bayunco, I didn't know what Bayunco was. I'm like, what?
Why do you keep eating here?
Bayunco, bro, what the Bayunco? That sound dope. I'm like, Bayunco, and later I find out, man, that's not, she was saying, but she still fed me. My friend Joey, his mom still fed me. But I remember, like, it wasn't all, she couldn't afford it. But I was like family to them because, we're a skate community. We started skating together. We'd go to my friend Juan's house to eat. Like, I practically live at Juan's house. His family took me in, like, right away, and just, we clicked, and, like, I was there more than I was at my house. So, I don't know, man. It's like, for me, it's always been, like, where I feel comfortable. And I would like to give, like, if anything I could give back to anybody, it's hope. Or, like, just don't give up.
What are some of your upcoming projects that you've got in the pipeline?
Well, there's a lot of things
that you
pending.
can speak on.
That I can speak on, yeah. There's some things that are in the air right now. I mean, there's nothing I can really speak on because it's super slow and we got nothing but all these fires and everything's, it's a slow drag right now. Like I just auditioned yesterday for a couple things. I got one more audition coming up Wednesday. And, I'm just trying to get in where I fit in, man. I don't expect, I try not to, like, I hope for it, but it's like going to court. You hope for the best, but expect the worst. So when you go do these auditions, you're like, you hope for the best, man, but in the back of your mind, you're like expecting to get turned down, but you're gonna put it out there like you want it, and you do want it, but it's don't get crushed when you don't get it. Yeah.
What's your dream role as an actor?
To play a detective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that brings up a good point. We were just at Conejo's video shoot.
Okay.
Tell me about that. You
Yeah,
were the detective.
Yeah, I played a detective. See, that's manifesting it right there. Like I'm trying to do all these things. I just did some other work playing a detective last year. That's the manifestation, throwing it out there, man. But it was playing a detective going into like a cult meeting. It was dope. I don't want to give too much away, man, but it was dope. The way Conejo's, he has this way of, when he did like tax collector, it's like this, it's the 15 years he was gone. It's what he learned. And I respect that because we all learn things when we go away somewhere, and like he's got a lot to put on the table when it comes to that. So it's different than what I know. You know, it's different when my journey where I went. You got two different, you know, but it's good to collaborate and come together, man. I love the video. I'd seen a little piece of it, and I was like, damn, that was sick. I loved it.
How did you guys connect?
Well, I ran into him recently at a few years back when I was barely getting on Flamin' Hot. It's when I met Jesse Garcia. I met Jesse Garcia at the same spot where I ran into Conejo. But I know Conejo from back in the day. I used to skate with his brother Weddle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with the green eyes. We used to skate, and we skated like Rat Nuts, bro. Rat Nuts. We were skating the half pipe, the mini ramp on 23rd and Vermont, behind the gas station. That was
Right, that's the right hood.
yeah, right there. And I used to go there skating from Rampart, from Tommy's all the way to there, going through like 20 different hoods, bro, trying to catch every green light. And there's like 20 of us going, you know, and we're all like looking around because back then, boy, it was different, man. They'd hear a skateboard, and it's like, oh, go get him. The skateboarder trying to, you know, because back then you had the Tony Hawk skater, you know, like, bruh. You call that emo today, you know? Yeah, and we weren't like that. We were not like that. So we came from where we were. We looked like the, you know, kids from LA, not with the Tony Hawk haircuts, you know? Shout out Tony Hawk, nothing against you, bro.
And how can people...
I still want to drop in your rep.
How can people support you?
People can support me by supporting the events that I do with Centro de Pueblo and following me and going to the movies and film premieres that I go to, that I'm in. And also by... Centro de Pueblo does a lot with the community of Echo Park, where I grew up, born and raised. My cousin Carlos De Leon and his wife, they run a lot of it with Sandra and a few other people there, Robert and Lydia. They all run it. And I just got my guy Richard Valle in there. He does the skate program. I was supposed to do the skate program, but I feel like I'm pretty busy with what I got going on, and gave the job to the right man, and he's now doing it. Richard Valle, he's from Corcoran, and now he's running it. He's friends with Paul, with P-Rod, and Manny Santiago, and a lot of good people, man, that I know. So I felt secure and sure about giving him the job they offered me, because I don't have that kind of time, you know? And plus, he's got better resources than me. I got old school resources, you know? His are like right now resources, the guys that are in right now. And it's dope, man. I like what he's doing so far, and I like the place. Like, it's just growing. We had Rezo do the floor.
Okay.
Rezo did the whole ground and the whole floor work for it, and the whole courts. The handball courts did the paintings, made it look real nice and beautiful. And then we have events there. You know, we do the street hoop basketball league. I think it's called Street. I don't want to say it wrong, but I don't know if it's Street League or Street something. But it's with Kevin Garnett, and there's a basketball thing. They do 3-on-3 girls, 3-on-3 guys, and it's like, dude, that place it's saved, man. That place saved my family back in the day when my mom wasn't doing so well and we got taken away by the system. And that place helped her get us back. So Centro de Pueblo is like, it's been doing good forever, and like helping families and people around there. So if you could support me by supporting Centro de Pueblo and the events and movies that I got coming out, and you know, it works both ways. I support you too, you know? Yeah.
Any final thoughts for this podcast?
I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. You've been a big help in my life, like as far as advice and, you know, legal advice, everything, you know, everything. And meeting you was not by accident. It's all by design, man. That man, Richard Quinones, is no longer with us. You know, he just came to his death in a surfing accident, you know. Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace.
So, you know, everything is by design. I think it's meant to happen. There's no accidents in life. And if you're in a place where you find yourself like not happy and succumbing to something that you don't want to, there's always hope. You can always reach out, and there's always, even when you think you're at your last rope, there's always hope. Never give up.
Blessed message.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, Nicholas Rosenberg here, Punching Back Podcast. Fabian Alomar punching bag.